Street Fighter Assassin's Fist. Now, this was actually released as a web series by director and producer Joey Assan. He's actually the guy from The Bourne Ultimatum who fights Matt Damon, the guy who plays Agent Desh in that brilliant fight scene from that movie. He's a British Ghanaian guy who is a great martial artist, and he really understands action, he really understands the Street Fighter brand, and he understands the story that needed to be told. Because let's face it, I mean, the video game movies have not been great, you know, apart from maybe Mortal Kombat as a classic kind of cheesy guilty pleasure movie, and also the Street Fighter animated series, the animated movie, should I say, the manga version. That was brilliant. Absolutely love that film. That was really good. But this one, live action wise, it's the best. It's the best thing. It's the best thing I've seen. Like I said, it was originally released as a web series on YouTube. And I remember like really looking forward to this because Joey Assan had released a short film to kind of test it. And then they showed the behind the scenes footage of what they were doing as the film was in production. And I was like, yes, they were talking about how they're taking it seriously, from the costumes, from the fighting stances, the fighting style, you know, the Atsatsuken style that you see in Street Fighter. So you can see that Joey and his friend who wrote the film, the guy who played Ken, they actually lived together and they used to play Street Fighter. You know, like I'm sure many of you you might have been playing Street Fighter like growing up, like I was. I mean, I love the game, I love the story. Ryu and Ken were my two favorite characters, particularly Ryu. It was just great to see filmmakers who are fans of the game actually take on the story, because it wasn't just about putting these franchise characters on the screen to try and make a quick buck. It was about, look, we believe in this franchise, we believe in these characters, and we want to bring the authentic martial arts to the screen. And that's what I love, you know. So it's obviously focusing on Ryu and Ken's journey as they're training with Goken in Japan. And it was great to see that origin story of Ryu, the origin story of Ken, you know, his father bringing him to the dojo because he's a friend of Goken's, and also, you know, Ken being troubled because his mother had died and they're having difficulties, and that, you know, he wanted to discipline his son. You know, and then you see obviously Ryu and Ken develop that friendship, training together. You know, it's that bromance of, you know, a couple of guys training together and growing up together, and blood, sweat and tears, you know. And as a martial artist, you really understand that, you know, you really understand that kind of journey. And I think Joey Assan really brought that to the big screen in a really good way, or the small screen in a really big way. Now, he also played Akuma, developed Akuma, because Akuma obviously started as Goken's brother, and they showed the flashback of when Gotetsu is training them in Atsatsuken, in the Satsu no Hado, and he's saying that's kind of forbidden to be trained in Satsu no Hado. So they're training in Atsatsuken, and Gotetsu tells them that they're forbidden to train in Satsu no Hado, but Goki, because he's obsessed with becoming the best. He's obsessed with living to his full potential as a fighter, as a martial artist, as a warrior. He ignores his master and he rebels, you know. And then you see some brilliant, you know, what it did was it really showed the sensitivity of who Akuma really is. He's not this demonic kind of character. He is, but he was a man. It shows some admirable traits in the Akuma character, in Goki, because he was a man who was very ambitious. He wanted to be the best. He wanted to live to his full potential, but he was being restricted in that teaching environment with Gotetsu and with Goken. And he needed to rebel. He needed to be outcast. Obviously, he tries to kill his brother in that duel that they have, and Gotetsu expels him from the dojo. And that gives him an opportunity to go and out and train on his own. And he's living on the land, on the wilderness, and you see him training, and he's like getting sick because he's too obsessed. The Satsu no Hado is taking him over. And I really liked that because it really showed his character so driven that he was willing to like let everything go for his goal. He took it a bit too far, but he still was willing to put everything into it to become the best version of himself. And he took it to a point where it consumed him. Obviously, Goken, his brother, he doesn't want to go that route. So he develops the Munahado, the power of nothingness. So it's a more pure form of the art, less violent, because Satsui no Hado is more about murderous intent. Munahado is more of a peaceful version of it. And that's what he trains Ryu and Ken in. And I like that they show those flashbacks because it relates to what's happening in modern day. And you see Ken actually discovers some of the old Satsui no Hado manuals that Goki had actually left behind from the room back in the day when he left the dojo. He'd left some of the notes behind, and Ken discovers it because he's obviously very competitive with Ryu, and Ryu's a natural warrior. He's very powerful, and Ryu's actually trying to resist becoming his full potential because he's afraid. And we see later on he gets consumed by the Satsui no Hado without even wanting to tap into it. It's like it's a mysterious thing. But then you see with Ken, he's driven like Goki was. Goken sees that. He's afraid that obviously that's going to consume Ken. So Ken tries to summon the Hadouken by using the Satsui no Hado. So there were so many great story arcs to this. I mean, that's a great example. This movie, because it's a movie now, because they put all the episodes together, and there was an additional episode they didn't release at the end as the last episode, as the conclusion to the film, where Goki or Goken, should I say, and Akuma face off. And as a movie, it just works very well because it tells a story of these warriors and the fighting styles and the martial arts that they're training in is a big part of the story, and it's a big part of these characters. And it was something that hasn't been addressed in the movies and wasn't really addressed very well in the movies. Even in the manga version that I love so much, that was fantastic because that was based on the World Warrior part of the story. This is before then, so this is even before the Alpha series. So what I really loved about this was just, it was so authentic to martial arts. It was so authentic to martial arts training. There's some great montages. There's a great montage I love with Akuma, and he's training in the woods. You see him hunting deer with a Hadouken. He's like doing all these crazy pull-ups and stuff, and Joey Asar got into really good shape. I mean, all the actors got into really good shape for this movie. And there's some great like character montages, some great like 80s style kind of character montages as well. Ryu and Ken in the forests, like running and training together and sparring, which is really good to see. And yeah, I just love this movie. It was really good. If you think that there's not a great computer game live action movie, then check this out. It's on Netflix, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure you can buy it on Amazon Prime as well. In fact, I'll leave a link below where you can get the movie. It's an affiliate link, so you'll be supporting the channel if you do click on the link. I love the movie. You know, I really enjoy it as a movie. I've watched it many times. And it does the Street Fighter brand justice. It does the characters of Ryu, Ken, Goki, Goken, and Akuma, or Akuma is Goki. Those characters justice, and it really tells the story authentically and uses martial arts as a way to tell the story, because that's who these characters are. They are fighters, they are martial artists, and it really goes into depth in telling that story within the fighting styles and the systems that they're training in, and in the environment that they're training in Japan. Is so good, absolutely great. It's a great kind of throwback montage to the 80s. It kind of pays homage to the 80s, old school 80s action movies and martial art movies. I think Joey really tapped into that, and it was really well done, well produced, and definitely worth it being in this list of the top 100 martial art movies you must check out if you haven't. Anyway, if you like this video, hit that like button, share, subscribe. Comment down below, let me know if you've seen Street Fighter Assassin's Fist and where do you think it ranks in terms of martial art movies and in terms of computer game adaptations. Do you think this one is a good one, like I do? Because I think it's brilliant. Comment below and I'd love to know your thoughts. Anyway, I'll see you next time for another video. Remember, behind every fight is a great story. Peace.